We are brought to you today by Kai CBD, a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line. Made with 100% love, the brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram and mention Pop Culture Corner to receive 10% off your order of all or any of their CBD-derived product line. Guys, their website is in the works. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Mention Pop Culture Corner and get 10% off. This ad is an easy one for me. Easy, as I use the products myself. They are wonderful. So head over, mention Pop Culture Corner, and get 10% off your order of all orders forever. Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Ty. I'm here, Pop Culture Corner, presenting the morning pod. We're doing things a little differently today, but we do have a big show for you. We're going to be inserting comics of the round table into this show as a segment from now on. I think that's a better idea, but we are reviewing Nightwing 78, 79, and 80 by Tom Taylor, but we do have some other things to talk about as well. J.J. Abrams, in a recent Collider interview, was talking about how they might not have had a solid plan for the sequels, huh? But yeah, so we'll get into that. That's going to be like a really long discussion as we round out Star Wars month. I'm excited for it. I know Austin knows a lot about the Star Wars in general, so it'll be a good conversation. Before we get into all that, guys, make sure to smash the like button. All right, smash the like button. Share the show on social media with your friends, family, enemies, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your ex, whatever. Doesn't matter. And ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads by the Pop Culture Corner. We are excited to be here and introducing Austin. How are you? Let me camera there. How are
you? Good, man. How are you, man? How have you been?
Woo, doing good.
Been a week.
Yeah, it sure has. It sure has. I mean, the Friends reunion aired yesterday. Did you watch that?
I did. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
I watched it.
All right. Right. I know you like the. So I'm not the Friends fanatic. I mean, I love the show. My whole thing was I personally, like, if they're gonna do a reunion episode or like a not a reboot, but I want to see the characters like all these years later. I want to see in just a 1 hour episode. Where are they now?
Yeah,
I think that would have been cool.
They did address why they did the style that they did at the end. When they where's my little spoilers for the Friends reunion, I suppose.
Whoops.
But they do address it towards the end where they say that they did this style reunion because the way that the is like Brofman Productions, the way that they ended it, they didn't want to unravel all the good and stuff that the way that the Friends reunion ended.
I understand. Like, I guess for me, my Friends is The Office, so I wouldn't necessarily want them to, undo all the good stuff that they did with that show, or especially how they left Michael. But at the same time, I do kind of want to know where is Michael, 10 years, or where are these characters 10 years later, or all these years later. So I do understand it. It's such a hard thing, because it's such a beloved show, and like you said, you don't want to mess up something that was pretty much perfect.
Did anyone else think that? I mean, we know that Matthew Perry had like a long long,
That
long
I felt so
rug.
bad for him. I
Like
felt so bad for him. He looks.
It looks like he has. It kind of like it sounds like he has dementia almost. Like, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, like a rude way. I'm
No, and
saying
it's
that.
very like sympathy. Yeah, like
Yeah, I'm saying that because I have a past. Yeah, we all have our own pasts and stuff like that. But if I had kept doing what I was doing, like maybe I turned out like Matthew Perry, and like that's. I mean, he didn't seem like he was all there, and
yeah. He was hardcore into all that stuff, man. Not only during the show, but I mean, even up until a couple years ago, So
I never did like hard drugs or anything, but I used to drink a lot, and
yeah, he did.
I've
He was doing like
to it a couple times here, but yeah, so I'm not really ashamed of it. I
yeah,
caught it pretty early and caught it young, but who knows where I could have ended up,
yeah,
yeah, and seeing him kind of struggling and struggling to remember, and you see that the other cast members are kind of easing him through remembering, and it's just like, yikes. Yeah, man. I mean, even when they showed some of the earlier clips of Friends, you can see he's like healthy and
just a different person.
vibrant.
He's a different person.
Very vibrant.
Yep.
And then they show scenes from the finale, and he's rail thin, and he's aged. I mean, it's only been 10 years since the start and finish. Like, well, when the show started in 94 and ended in 04, it had only been 10 years, but he looked 20 years older by then already. So
meanwhile, Jennifer Aniston hasn't aged a day.
Look at her. Ready? Wait. Look at her. Look at her right here.
Wow.
When they're young. And then look at her here.
Basically the same. I think actually all the women aged very well.
Courtney Cox did not age well.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me see. Go back to the earlier. I didn't see it because I don't really remember.
They made her look really well with like the
right with the makeup, yeah.
But I mean, we've all seen bits and pieces of that show with the wine. I don't know what it's called, Cougar Town or whatever it was called.
Oh, that's what she did.
She looked like a like an alien almost. She looked like an alien, and it was weird. It was really weird. But yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed the Friends reunion. I'm gonna say that. Yeah. I'm gonna say that I enjoyed it. It brought emotions up that I didn't remember having. It brought nostalgia. I think they did a good job with filming it. And how it all came together. We found out that Ross and Rachel in real life had a thing. Well, they didn't have a thing, but they were crushing on each other for the first season. And and if history was a little differently, imagine that. Imagine, like, because they showed some behind the scenes footage of them like flirting on set. I mean, they were into each other, but it just never worked out. And but yeah, wow, that was crazy. No one ever knew that.
Jen's she's the Hollywood heartbreaker, man. She's been through. I mean, that would have been cool, right? But she had her husband. She had Brad Pitt was on the show.
Yeah, he did. He did. And it was funny because he hated her in the show. Like, he hated her character in the show.
Her character, yeah.
He was like grabbing stuff and like shaking it and really awkwarding everyone out. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I was quick shout out everybody in the chat. Real quick. I did want to say, I thought Matt said something really funny. I want to see how Michael Scott's Children came out. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that. That's a show in itself. Yeah. The Office.
I did feel it. Yeah, I felt it all the way through my core. The smashing of the like button.
But yeah, quick everybody. Thank you in the chat. Billy, Adam, Andrew, whoever else.
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah. We love you guys. Thank you.
And then guys, Caden Reed, Odd, Nick DePalma, THATONECARLOS, Josh Robertson, Ruben K.S. Rivera, Joey B, Billy Robert, Adam Silvestri, Sean Adam, Susan Sideri. You guys are the lifeblood of the pop culture corner. Thank you for being patrons. If you would like to become a patron, all the links are in the description below. For only $5 a month, you can gain access to behind the scenes exclusive content, private streams, like I'm going to do tonight,
Ooh.
discounted merchandise, and pretty much anything else I can think of, like pictures of Logan. Who doesn't like doggy pictures? Come on. Yeah, so the Friends reunion. Let me know in the comments. Did you watch it? Did you like the style that they did? Did you wish that they did like a continuation so like we could see where they are now? And do you want them to kind of do that in the future, or is it something that is untouchable? Can't go back to it. Can't do that. And on to the next one. Star Wars. Ending Star Wars month. Ending Star Wars month with a heavy debate. Debate. This one's gonna take up a lot of time.
Okay, all right, cool. Paul would have some good insight on this too.
Right.
Well, we'll have to ask him when he gets in.
Yeah. So I wonder why he said all these things. I wonder why.
Probably because everybody doesn't like him now.
I like him.
I mean, yeah, I guess but even look at the backlash that happened with Superman when it was announced he was going to do Superman. I mean, there wasn't a lot of excitement that he was. In fact, most of the stuff I heard was like, please don't give JJ another, another big IP like this, or another, look, even in the comics now, JJ, come on, man. JJ, like, yeah, I think if anything, JJ's very strong in certain, like TV. I think he's very strong in TV. Lost, the TV shows that he's produced. What's the Alias that he did? He's very strong in sci-fi TV and long, drawn out stories that are complex and I think with these bigger properties, I don't know. He's definitely made his mark on them, and they're not the best. I think of the.
Well, here. So I think that Disney is mostly at fault here, because I think that they rushed into this. They wanted the money. They didn't like get the writers' room together. They didn't, they didn't like solidify, okay, where do we want to take this? Where do we want to go with this? What's going to be our 10-year plan with Star Wars?
Yeah,
I think that they just hired him. Yeah,
that was the biggest mistake. Here is the strategy, right? The whole strategy was, let's go back to the strategy of the prequels, which was the original trilogy. The original trilogy had 3 different directors on each film.
Yeah.
But what they got rid of was George Lucas. George Lucas was, mainlining the story and keeping everybody on track. So yes, these directors were doing their own thing, and they're sure getting to have their little creative, nuances here and there, but it was mainly George giving them the story and them, just building out the world more so than adding on to George's story. And this, when it came to the sequel trilogy at Disney, like you said, they just hired JJ, they hired Ryan, and they hired Colin. And it was interesting is none of those 3, I don't think, even ever met. Now, eventually, Colin Trevorrow never got to make his 3rd Star Wars. He was replaced by JJ again. Right. But still, it's mind-boggling to me that it never occurred to any of these guys, to go, hey, maybe we should have an hour meeting, just real quick. So I'll get together for a sec.
And like I said, I think that was detrimental to what happened, because it's almost like you look over at Marvel and you see the intricacy of the MCU. Like, again, say what you want about the stories or the depth of the stories with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the way it's all interconnected was planned. You can tell that it was all planned from the jump, and it's so woven. It's woven almost seamlessly at some points, interconnected, that interconnected universe. But with Star Wars, it seems like he's right, but he's not right, but he kind of like confirmed what we had all thought, or at least you guys all thought, maybe not myself, but that the planning was very, 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 very off, and there was a lack thereof, which causes issues. Yes, because I mean, if you think about, if you just like picked up a camera and started, and then you were responsible for these billion-dollar movies, but you didn't have a plan, right? You had a couple script ideas here and there, but nothing like legitimately solid on where the story was supposed to start and end, and everything in between. That's not fun. I can't imagine that's fun for any director.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm sure his career positivity, or his career has taken a tad bit of a hit because of it. Because, or at least, like I said, the positivity of it, because before the Star Wars movies, and even before, Force Awakens wasn't too bad. It was pretty, actually, not when I think back, it was well received.
I liked it a lot. I know it was a rehash, but
but it was mainly well received. But even then, right, I think there started to be like a JJ fatigue of like, because it seems like with the Star Trek movies and with the Star Wars movies, he was just kind of doing the same thing, just over and over and over again. I mean, like the first Star Trek was really cool and new, and added a lot of stuff to the sci-fi genre and all that. But after that, it was, Star Trek 2 was basically the same thing. Star Wars Force Awakens was basically Star Trek, but Star Wars-y, like, you think about it too, also, like, Mads made a great point. He's extremely talented, but needs to stick to what he knows, and he makes good, I think, original sci-fi. I'm not quite sure how he does adapting other people's,
Yeah. So we're gonna take a look here at a little bit of the interview from Collider, because I found it to be something that I liked, that I was interested in. It's fun to know a little bit, aside from the actual news of it. I find it fun to like get behind the scenes of the movie making process. So here is J.J. Abrams on Collider. I kind of skipped a little bit forward, and we'll just watch some of it, enough so we can not get taken down or demonetized. So
relationship that as it's written doesn't quite work, and things that you think are going to.
So basically, here he's talking about the development of Star Wars.
Be so well received, just crash and burn, and other things that you think like, oh, that's a little small moment, that's a one episode character, suddenly become a hugely important part of the story. And I feel like what I've learned as a lesson a few times now, and it's something that especially in this pandemic year, working with writers, the lesson is that you have to plan things the best you can, and you always need to be able to respond to the unexpected, and the unexpected can come in all sorts of forms. And I do think that there's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. And there are projects that I've worked on where we had some ideas, but we hadn't worked through them enough. We had sometimes we had some ideas, but then we weren't allowed to do them the way we wanted to. We had, I've had all sorts of situations where,
if he doesn't look like a typical Hollywood writer,
you suddenly find yourself doing
producer,
something
I don't know,
180 degrees different. And then sometimes it works really. You feel like, wow, that really came together. And other times you think, oh my God, I can't believe this is where we are. And sometimes when it's not working out, it's because it's what you planned. And other times when it's not working out, it's because it didn't. It's like you never really know. But having a plan, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what you're what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, you're just as good as your last sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you want to be leading to something inevitable.
Yeah.
Introducing speech alone.
Yep. I kind
yeah, so there it is. Like I said,
you know, he made an interesting point because I don't know, you know, any details or anything of what, but I heard rumors behind the scenes that there was issues between him and Disney for Rise of Skywalker, as far as the way he wanted the story to go and the way the company, you know, wanted the story to go. So I kind of wonder, and I have heard that there is like another cut of Rise of Skywalker that has some different moments and extra scenes and stuff, you know. So
yeah,
because he mentions there, you know, or something, it's the studio, you know, or something like it, you know. Also that I kind of wonder if he's trying to say something there too.
Do you personally think that J.J. Abrams will ever work on another Star Wars film again?
No.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was thinking as well.
You know,
just done.
Yeah. Yeah. So him and Terrio, as much as I love Terrio, Chris Terrio is a very, very, very talented writer, but yeah, I don't see them doing any Star Wars anytime soon.
And you know, I kind of feel bad, but I mean, hey, did you like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek?
I like the yes. I liked them. I did.
Like take away the adaption of it.
Right.
Like you can't.
I did. Yeah. I mean, I was a kid. You know, you were even in high school. You know, Into Darkness came out. I think my film class. We went and watched that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and it was cool. You were like, this is one of the coolest. You know, visually, it's one of the coolest movies. He makes some of the coolest movies. Even Super 8 was pretty cool. You know,
Super 8's one of my favorite. Like
really
one of my favorite just random films. Like it's something that like if I catch it and it's on,
right.
I'll watch it. Like that train sequence is still one of the best things I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah, it's you know his Steven Spielberg homage. And I don't you know
what
it's hard to
no. Because you sound like you don't like Super 8.
I'm not crazy about Super 8. No, I don't.
Oh.
I thought it was pretty boring, to be quite honest.
Bridging the Geekdoms podcast says JJ had a plan. It was Kathleen Kennedy that allowed Johnson to do his own thing and then pushed him, speaking about JJ, to adjust to episode 9. Now, do you think that is the case?
No. Because JJ just said we didn't have JJ just said we didn't have a plan.
Yeah, I mean,
he literally just said
again, I don't know personally. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, no, he did. I don't think he had a plan. I think he was given Force Awakens, and from the beginning, it was made known we're going to have a different director on the second one and a different one on the third one. So in his mind, he was probably just thinking, I just need to start it out. They'll finish it off. That was their job. That was Disney's job.
Yeah.
So I don't see why he would have an inevitable plan, because he was never intended, and even while he was making Force Awakens, had no clue that he would be brought back, you know, to do the third one, to finish the series. So, you know, it was then that he had to come up with that inevitable ending that he was talking about, right? That inevitable, you know, thing that you're working towards.
Right. And so here's a question. Do you think that it would have been better if from the beginning they said, this is going to be a full J.J. Abrams trilogy, no other director, let him see it through, let him do his thing, and then, you know, then if it doesn't work out, then we could bring Rian Johnson in or Colin Trevorrow and go a different direction. We'll always be able to make more movies, but let JJ do this trilogy, and then we can see where the universe takes us. Or do you like the 3 different director approach?
I like the 3 different director approach when it's planned out. And here's the other thing too. You know what? I don't think they had hired. You know, they hadn't hired Rian Johnson. I don't think yet during the making of The Force Awakens. And they hadn't hired Colin Trevorrow yet. So yes, there was no plan. There was no plan. I maybe JJ had, you know, an idea of like, hey, this is where I'd like things to go, but there was no plan. Because the original intention, and JJ was on board with it, he liked that idea, was going back to the original series and giving it each to a different director. So I like that idea, but it's when you have to hire them all at the same time, you know, get them all in the room. Okay, we got our 3 directors. You guys figure out the story, the ending, whatever, and then now go do your thing, you know.
Yeah.
It can't be like they were hiring the director. Okay, after Force Awakens came out, they hired Ryan. After middle Last Jedi's shoot, they after Last Jedi, they scrapped Colin Trevorrow's script, brought JJ back.
Yeah, because they after the backlash of Last Jedi, that's what I remember it all happening. You know, all of a sudden the plans just shifted up, or the lack of plans. I don't know.
And Johnson, no. I think if Johnson knew, he wouldn't have, you know, done what he did with Snoke, or done something, because a lot of those things were done for like shock factor and for, you know, to just take the series in a very different direction. That's the kind of things that Empire did that were just really like, whoa, you didn't expect that, right? You know, Empire obviously had the "I am your father, Luke, I'm your father" moment. You know, so little things like that. Ryan was trying to take from Empire, the shock value, the that took the series in different directions. So I think if he would have known, or JJ would have, you know, communicated with him before or anything, I think they, you know, he wouldn't have killed off Snoke the way he did, or done some of the things.
So weird. The Snoke thing in general rubbed me the wrong way. And I never understood why a character that was built up like that, then was just. That was the only thing I had an issue with.
And that's kind of the interesting now. I guess we're seeing with the Mandalorian, them filling the gaps of it. That Snoke was never really, but it's interesting because, like you said, Force Awakens, it introduces him as this very big, bad, intent. You know, the big villain, the big Sith, the big thing, right? You know, obviously now we know he's always intended to just be a clone or a placeholder while Darth Sidious regained his life force. We know for a fact JJ's plan for ending of 7 was adjusted because Johnson wanted to go a different direction than what Abrams had envisioned. Son's ending was slightly different at first. I've never heard that. But
I would be interested to know what. I know there's no like. Okay, so if what he's saying is true, then there was no solid map, right? But I would be interested to know what the original plan, right? Because they hired 3 different directors. There was obviously some like idea of what they wanted. I wonder what that was. I wonder how they, like, when the final film ended. I want to know, you know, was it this? What was going to happen? What, you know what I mean? What would be different?
I think, I can't remember if JJ said it himself or I read somewhere. I think JJ, you know, with The Last Jedi was kind of, obviously because Snoke was gone, his whole thing was like, okay, well now we have to bring Darth Sidious back because, you know, there's really nobody else. You know, it's too late to introduce a new one in the last new movie of the franchise. So I don't know. I think it's. I will say, because of the unplanning, and I obviously I love The Last Jedi. It's my favorite, one of my favorites. But because of the unplanning, JJ was kind of left with this Last Jedi in his lap, and to just take it and make the last movie of the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
You know, with that. You know, so I think understandably, there were some things, but I don't know. I think, and see, I'm trying to read too what Bridging the Geekdoms podcast is saying too.
sent a diagram of how it changed and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
We'll bring it back up. We'll bring it back up when Paul comes in and kind of go into it a little bit more, because I have a couple other things that I wanna get to today as well.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Did you? I don't know if you ended up reading. Did you end up reading Nightwing? Yeah, you weren't here last week, so
I got through the first 1.5. I got through 78 and half of 79.
Okay.
So, but you guys can talk spoiler. I don't care. You know,
All right.
I have no.
All right. On to the next. So, I haven't seen you in a week, so I'm curious to know what you think of the John Cena thing.
Okay. Yeah.
The John Cena. So really quickly about that, because you know.
Yeah, and I watched you on Point Extra Lounge. I actually do tune into Point Extra Lounge every now and again because I am up till midnight.
Yeah.
I actually, I do agree with you guys. And it's funny, actually, I was out at dinner with my friends last night. We started talking about this, and I hadn't even said anything to them, right, about your opinion or the show, what the show has said about it, because I do agree with you guys. But my friend actually said, he goes, "Man, it's so weird. It looks like he was being held hostage." And I was like, my friend said that. I was like, but yeah, it did. It was very, it's just a very awkward video. It's so weird because, and you know John Cena, like, is the type of person that probably told Universal when they told him, "Hey, apologize." He was probably like, "This is gonna backfire," but all right, then does the video. But I mean, I do feel bad for him now. Obviously, he's in a position, and it's one of those. No matter what he says, he's gonna piss somebody off.
Yeah, well, this could have been. I mean, this could have been kind of bad because Suicide Squad's coming out, right? John Cena's in it.
That's right.
If he didn't apologize, then China probably would have not only taken Fast 9 out, but because they're crazy over there, they probably would have not let Suicide Squad air, and that's why I think Hollywood came to John Cena. I don't think just I don't think just the studio for Fast came to him, but I think that everyone came to him and was like, "All right, man, I'm sorry, but you gotta say something and retract that because you're gonna hurt the income of this film now." And and I think that's so out of line because he didn't make any mistake that I think warrants an apology.
He did his job. He did his job. He basically tweeted, "Hey,
the
movie
facts
I'm in
are the facts.
Out.
Taiwan is separate from China. Just because, listen, Austin is not I don't own Austin, even though if I thought I did, that doesn't make it any truer, right?
Yeah.
If I was under the impression that Austin was my property, right? Even though he's not, and the rest of the world knows he's not. What we look the other way when it comes because I own the channel, right?
Right.
Technically, what you gotta suck up to me and pretend like that I'm in the right just so you don't like hurt your relations. Like, it didn't make any like, it's such a bad thing to portray, and it makes me sick.
Yeah. It is. I agree.
I'll say it for you, John Cena. Taiwan is separate from China.
Yeah, we'll say it right here. Right. I
taken off of Chinese YouTube.
Yeah, we lost our Chinese market right there. Gone.
We didn't have one.
Yeah, right. I do think it's, like you said, it's so interesting, this line that actors and just Hollywood in general has to tiptoe because of these absolute, crazy, ridiculous censorship rules and laws and things that China has that just, absolutely makes no sense. It's like you said, it's they think that they own Taiwan. They can think that, but it's just not a fact. The rest of the world, we know it, so we're not gonna get behind China because we know they're wrong. It's just
blows my mind.
Yeah, it is. It's very sad. Cancel culture needs to go. Yeah, not being able to make mistakes. Yeah, and that's the thing. But see, that's the thing, though. I don't think he made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Right, but by the studio standards, he probably,
Right. I get that.
Yeah. It's not a mistake. Yeah, you're right.
It's not
a mistake. It was misworded because with that kind of situation, I guess you would want to be as vague as possible. And he tried to be vague, right? But he said Taiwan separate from China. Like he said China, Taiwan, instead of just China. And in that situation where if you had just said China, you're not lying by any means. You're just not directly saying Taiwan is separate, right?
Yeah.
You're leaving it up to interpretation in a way where they couldn't get on you about it. So yeah, whatever, dude, misspoke, but we need to normalize not being like, you shouldn't have to make an apology video where it looks like you have an AR-15 to your head, and if you don't apologize, you're gonna get gunned down.
And this is like supposed to be one of the toughest dudes out there, and the poor guy is like, he looks like he's shaking on the other side of the camera, man.
Oh man, it made me sick though. It really did.
It is. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
We do have this one's gonna be interesting. Robert Pattinson has signed a new first look deal with Warner Brothers. What can you maybe explain it a little bit more? Or?
So from what I heard and what I was reading, it's mainly from a producer's standpoint. He's taking a big step into his producing role. I'm not sure if he has a producing credit on the Batman. Probably does. But that's the big thing for his. I don't think it was, and it's probably, to sign up for more Batman films and stuff and all that. But the main thing was that he can produce content on HBO Max and throughout Warner's other media, film and TV. So he's mainly just stepping into a more producer role, which is smart. It's a very smart move for him. He's taking on the Batman, which is what I can think of probably going to take up a lot of his time. It seems like Warner's very invested in his Batman. I wouldn't even be surprised if, part of that contract also says that he himself can show up in things like the Batman TV series, the Gotham series, or things like that, So I think overall I've always liked Robert Pattinson. He's a very talented actor. His indie movies are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He's done like a few things called High Life and Good Time and The Lighthouse.
It was amazing. I got to see that as a
Good Time is so good.
I got to be a test audience for a Good Time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't know how you don't know what movie you're gonna see until
they just tell you, hey, you want to come see a private movie? Yeah.
And we got there and it was Good Time, and I was like, oh shit, Robert Pattinson, come on. And then it blew me away.
He's phenomenal. And this obviously the Safdie brothers are. I love them.
Right.
But I think with the Batman, obviously it's going to take more of his time. He's not going to be doing those little indie roles that he really loved doing that and getting into those types of characters. So I think this is a good way for him to probably we'll see him take a step back from his acting career a little bit, right? With the Batman, he'll focus on the Batman acting wise, and that Warner, he can produce some of those indie type movies that he used to be in,
Yeah. It's funny because he got to start in like the biggest
Twilight
teen series of all time. But guys, are you excited for the Batman? Listen, what are your real thoughts on the Batman?
I can't wait, man. I can't. I really
think. What do you think with the first reactions? So when it drops for the when it eventually comes to theaters, do you think that we're gonna get like? do you think this is going to be like is it going to be crazy, overwhelming support? Like people are going to be go crazy over it, or do you think it's just going to be good?
I think we'll see. But I think actually it might get some overwhelming support. I think we're going to get a very specific Batman here. Christopher Nolan, we got kind of Chris's take on Batman with the mixture of the comic book stuff. Batflick is very much, based on the older years and all that. This, I feel like we're going to get, from everything that I'm hearing, this is going to be like the most violent, brutal Batman that we've seen on screen. Also look at those covers over his eyes there, if you guys can see. I think we're gonna get the classic like wide eyes look there.
They're not here, but
they're not there. But
I think maybe... they kind of. I think personally, I mean, they also could be like in this shot, he's outside. They could be like goggles for the motorcycle.
Right. Okay. But,
yeah. Because in here you don't see them. But you got to remember, this is real early footage. Like they threw this trailer together for fandom specifically. Mm-hmm. Specifically. So some of the shots weren't done. They could edit some in. You never know. We don't know what the final, product is going to look like. But I hope. We'll see. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to the white eyes.
Yeah, I would love to see the white eyes. But we'll see what fans' reactions are to this. Obviously. People had a lot of. I thought it was so funny because of all the things that I didn't like about Batman versus Superman. When I walked out of the theatrical cut, the one thing that I did like was the violence of Batman. And everybody else was talking about, Batman doesn't do that and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, he does. He's been in Gotham for 30 years and he's pissed off.
Right.
He does now, So I obviously we saw that trailer. It looks like he broke that dude's face, Robert Pattinson's Batman. That dude's that he beat up is not gonna wake up for some time.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be maybe not all there when he does.
Right.
So this is gonna be a pretty brutal, violent Batman. It's very much reminiscent of the Arkham series to me that I can think of. The Arkham Batman. He straight up breaks arms and, breaks necks and all this crazy stuff. And I think that's what we'll see here from Batman, from Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's Batman.
I think it's a clear cut. Pattinson was right there for us. And right. It doesn't seem like that's been taken up. It's something else. Pattinson. Pattinson.
I like Pattinson. Yeah.
Pattinson just rolls off the tongue, but
I love that.
Robert Pattinson.
I love Jack, but will he kill? Yeah, exactly. Will he kill?
Listen, people seem to forget. We talked about it on Point Action Lounge. Actually, is early Batman, like the first iterations of Batman in the source material, was savage. He was savage.
Yeah, you see him. He just lets the dude's neck snap while he's hanging, and
he would casually break necks, let people hang from the flying fox looking thing. Copter or the Batwing. But yeah, so and he would directly say like, "Oh, I accidentally broke his neck."
Yeah. Whoops.
So people always forget that, but and that there's a reason for that, and that's okay. In the days since then, they've kind of adapted this no kill order. Doesn't use a gun. I'm okay with the doesn't use a gun, but I'm actually okay when Batman does kill, but not directly. Like if he
doesn't just go up and bam, no, it's,
right, exactly.
I kind of like the theory, and I do like the thing. I actually saw when I was watching you guys on Point Dexter, somebody got really upset and started questioning in the comments, but I like this theory of like he doesn't kill them directly, but he doesn't have to let them live. He doesn't have to save them, right? If they're bad enough, and I like that mindset. And he's kind of got that mindset.
Yeah, like in the Dark Knight, he says it directly to Ra's al Ghul. Is like, well, I don't have to kill you, but I also don't have to save you. Yeah. There's a difference. Pretty much all the villains that died in Dark Knight were directly like they happened because they were fighting Batman. So I guess you could make a case for, but he did kill them. Well,
right.
Not necessarily. But,
obviously Joker.
Yeah. Man, I couldn't imagine what Dark Knight Rises was gonna be with the Joker. Like had he not passed away.
And I think they were gonna bring Bane anyways. Bane was gonna come so it would have been Joker, Bane. And
Catwoman, yeah. So
even then, I would have brought Scarecrow back to the Rogue Gallery. He already had that little part in the end.
We found out the other night that the guy who did Scarecrow, I always forget his name, but he test screened for Batman. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think I'd probably seen that years ago and just forgot about it. But I think The Dark Knight Rises would have been a total different movie had it lived, and probably a better movie.
I mean, here's the thing. I am of the opinion of the fan base that I think The Dark Knight Rises is still a fantastic movie, a phenomenal. Really? Oh, I love it. I can watch it. I've probably seen it 30 or 40 times. I love it. But for me, that's just I think that's a testament to like what Chris Nolan can do. Obviously, when something like that happens, tragedy. Obviously, you can't do the Joker again or whatever. But if Heath was there and around to do it, I think it like. The Dark Knight trilogy is already known as one of the best trilogies of all time. I think it just would have solidified it as guaranteed. This is it. Like this is how you make the perfect trilogy. If they had that,
But all right, yeah. So we are gonna move on to the comic book roundtable, guys. I'm super excited to talk about this. I hope you are as well.
Yes.
Let's get into it. All right, we're here with Paul. Paul, what is up, dude?
What's up? Good morning, you guys.
Good morning, my friend. How was the show last night? I didn't get to tune in, but
it was a lot of fun. Frank dressed up as a judge, and he judged our opinions on like what we would change of the first phase of the MCU. We talked about what did we talk about? We talked about the Discovery and DC stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
Great, it's awesome.
Appreciate it if you guys go check it out. And I'm happy.
I didn't get to watch it live, but I saw it like late last night. I was watching it. It was good.
Before we get into anything here today, so we talked about I'm sure you heard J.J. Abrams' comments on
on
the sequel trilogy.
It's actually pretty funny.
It is pretty hilarious. But we had to talk about that early in the show because because there's nothing else to talk about.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, it's a hilarious thing to say. I don't know if they had a plan. I don't hate the sequel trilogy, but we've been over this. I like the first two a lot. I don't think The Rise of Skywalker is terrible, but I think it tries way too hard to retcon The Last Jedi. But that's a hilarious thing to say. Like,
he threw them right under the bus there and was just like, there was just like no plan at all.
It made every single one of them look like a bunch of dummies.
But so I mean, did you kind of expect that this was the case, or did you think that because
I don't really even think he's telling the truth. I think they had a plan. I think it went a little weird with The Last Jedi. I don't think they quite expected the response that they got. I think that's
what Bridging the Geekdoms was saying, Austin.
That
obviously he's just not telling the whole truth.
Yeah, I think it was like I don't think there was like a this we're gonna hit these exact moments for the next 3 movies. I think it was this movie's gonna be a homage. This movie's gonna be whatever The Last Jedi is, and then we'll see like we'll move. Like they had a loose idea. I don't think the Rise of Skywalker is honestly that much different than it would have been. I think maybe Palpatine might not have been in it. I think that was like a flinch reaction. And I think what Abrams might mean is that they didn't have that, like they didn't have it broken down step by step by step by step, but they had a plan. There's no way they just like, oh, let's make this movie. Like I find that hard to believe. And I frankly, and at the end of the day, I also don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, it's done now. It's done. It's over. It's Finn, right? Oh, no pun intended. Damn it!
Finn.
I gotta make that thing.
Finn.
But yeah, so it's Finn. It's done. It's over. You can't change anything now. All you can do is the retcon, I guess, if that's really the route that they wanted to take. But I mean, I don't think the sequels are that bad. I don't. Not like everyone makes them out to be, at least. What did he say? Palps is added because Johnson killed Snoke for no reason.
Palps I mean,
Palpatine, yeah.
He killed Snoke for no reason.
He really was added because Johnson killed Snoke for no reason.
That's what he's saying.
That's what I had heard. That because they think JJ had intended for Snoke to be the big bad, and then Ryan kills off Snoke.
How do you not have that much? How do you have that much discombobulation though? Like that seems unrealistic for them not to know that they're going to kill off this character that people have been speculating over for so long at this point.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Rian Johnson's team and them had a script. They had this. It wasn't a surprise. They didn't just show up on that day of shooting and go, oh, they're going to kill Snoke? Oh, we didn't know that. They knew. I think to say he killed Snoke for no reason is kind of silly. But it furthered Kylo Ren as a character, made that character his own character, made him the main bad guy, made him much more interesting. He was always much more interesting to me than Snoke was. But I mean,
I will say that like Snoke was they never gave him enough for you to actually, I think, get super like attached if he was, if he got killed or not. He's in Force Awakens, he's a very mysterious presence. He's a hologram. He's a giant hologram. And then before he's killed in Last Jedi, he has like what, 2 scenes?
People had this expectation that Snoke was going to be somebody. Why?
Right.
I don't really know. And why they were mad when he wasn't. And they build him up and they're like, oh, this giant moment's going to happen. He has complete control over Kylo Ren. He's going to make him kill Rey, and he kills him. That was so much more interesting to me than literally anything else they could have done.
Right. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I agree. I do think I like everybody knows, we like Ryan's choices, but I do think that people are just, like you said, there was expectations, right? People expected Luke to come back and basically pull like a fleet out of the sky and just destroy everything and win the war. And people expected Snoke to be Darth Plagueis and this ancient Jedi Sith and all that. And so people just had expectations, and that was the whole thing of the sequel is it subverted everything. It subverted all those expectations.
I don't know. I mean, so it comes down to your own opinion. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. It does different things. It's not afraid to try things and be epic in a way that most of the other movies aren't. I don't think anything they did was without reason, or they, as in like Rian Johnson and his team. Because contrary to what people may believe, he wasn't the only person that put together that story. So
yeah.
It's not how a movie works, guys. Sorry.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I just
wanted to get your thoughts on it. He had mentioned.
Yeah.
I saw him tweet about it.
What was the homework? The homework for everyone today was to dive into the Taylor Nightwing 78, 79, and 80. So I took a trip to the comic book store, and they ended up actually not having it. which was really disappointing. But I
Yeah.
didn't end up finding it in other ways.
Did you end up going to Comixology?
Yes. So,
yeah, so that's what I thought. I thought it would be
So,
on there.
Yeah, it was there, and I was happy about that. Listen, this might be the best thing that DC has published in a while. Like, honestly,
It's really good.
Wow,
Yeah.
you like it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I think he likes it, people.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot more as of lately, ever since we started doing this, and you know, even narrating. So we had a lot of fun. Justice and I narrating.
That was great.
Batman Rebirth #1. So we're gonna do the whole like Rebirth era. You know,
great.
not the newest stuff, but not the oldest stuff either.
Right.
This
is probably Rebirth is probably
2016.
2016.
Yep.
Post what event was it? It wasn't Flashpoint Paradox started the New 52. The New 52 was coming to an end. They just kind of reset there, led into Doomsday Clock.
Yep.
And if you don't know the reason why, in continuity, why all this stuff in the DC universe keeps changing, you should read Doomsday Clock, but maybe beforehand you should maybe read The Watchmen.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that reveal too, like subtle hints throughout it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, yep, there it is, right? And that was a good moment. But yeah, so we had fun narrating it, and like I refound my love, because for a real long time, like I won't lie, for a long time I just didn't read anything, right? Because I was doing other things. I've been doing this, watching movies, catching up with TV series, and like during this whole pandemic, I forgot about how much fun it is to take a trip to the comic book store, browse, talk to people that have similar interests, yada yada. I actually made a video, and it's gonna come out soon. It's called support your local comic store. And it's a video where I run out of comic books to read, and then it documents me and my puppy's trip to the store.
Nice.
And then you know, the people were super excited to like be in the video as well. So that should be coming out soon. And then I'm gonna do
for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing, and it's gonna be support your local theater. And
nice.
I'm gonna kind of make that a little series. So but I refound my love for this stuff, and so I'm really happy that we started doing this. I just finished the 3 Jokers, which it's great. It was great. I don't like Jeff Johns too much, but it was a fun story to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to do the Joker Wars. I don't know. You said you haven't read it because you don't want to, but I kind of like that stuff. So, but yeah, on to Nightwing. Nightwing 78. So, Paul, maybe if you want to introduce us.
All right.
You have the physical book. Oh, well, yeah, there they
Oh,
are.
wow, nice.
There they are.
There's 78, 79, and 80. There's a really cool variant cover for 79 where it's like Nightwing throughout the years with different version of him climbing up the side of a mountain. I didn't buy that one yesterday because I had a bunch of other crap to buy, and the check was getting up there. But I'm gonna
going to the
that.
comic store is expensive nowadays.
Yeah, I'm gonna cop that. I mean, Frank on the show, the guy co-host with me on Into the West Comics, I spend probably about $40 to $50 a week at the comic book store. He spends around over 100 pretty much every week, which is. But what he does that I don't do, which is kind of what I just alluded to, he'll buy every variant cover of every comic. I don't do that because
okay, and you know what? I've been starting to do that too. Once I see the other covers, like I have the 3 Berserker covers, and I have I'm just starting now to buy covers.
Unless I'm like really attached to it, then there's a Berserker cover that Austin's talking about. It's like silver and like all like very glossy and stuff. But
my goats ate my homework, so I didn't read it.
It's okay. We'll tell you. We'll recap it for you. We'll go over the homework with you and the rest of the class. But anyways,
so walk us through.
This starts off. Alfred Pennyworth has passed away, And he, go figure, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, because he worked for Bruce with the Wayne families and had a job with like English Secret Service type deal back in the day. He's kind of a multi-millionaire, billionaire maybe, and he's passed away, and he left all of his money to Dick Grayson. Yeah. And now Dick Grayson has all of this money, and he's kind of learning and figuring out what he wants to do with it. And I don't want to get into too specifics to start it off, but it's so much fun. It's got an interesting lead into who the villain is and what's going on. But this comic is great for that and the action and things like that. But what this comic really, really, really succeeds in is just showing you how much fun Dick Grayson is as a person, how good and nice he is. His relationship with Barbara Gordon is so much fun. It's so cute, and it's not like ever silly. His relationship with Tim Drake, the second Robin, is and the way the three of them, like there's a scene in number 80 where Tim Drake and Dick Grayson are going to do something, and they're on like a kind of like a radio call, and Tim is like, "So Barbara stayed the night last night," and then Barbara comes over the radio and she's like, "You know I'm on this call too, right?" And he's like, "Now I do." Yeah. But it's just moments like that juxtaposed with the incredible art. Bruno Redondo is unreal.
I was gonna say that because what I really liked about 78 was how they explored like the bully mentality. And how the art kind of like does the storytelling almost in a way, but the story also, like the written story, moves along well, but it also allows the art to tell the story, and it seems like there was a trust between them. It's like, you know, I'm gonna let you basically,
and that's something Tom Taylor has always been fantastic at. If you read Deceased, his current comic Seven Secrets from Boom Studios, the Suicide Squad comic that he did with this guy Bruno Redondo, he does a great job of giving you the information you need. He gets characters right, and then the art on all of his stuff is unbelievable. Yeah. There's just always a nice, incredible mixing of the writer and artist. And artists a lot of times don't get it enough credit. Like, I'm going to get off on a small tangent here. Like, for example, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, the way the Marvel model for telling stories back then and even still now is the artist would storyboard everything. Like Jack Kirby would draw the story, and then Stan Lee would come in and fill in the captions. As in DC, for the most part, has always worked. The writer would storyboard it and write out write out the dialogue and stuff, almost like a script. And then they would say, okay, the artist needs to draw this here and this here, and the artist would come and bring that to life. Yeah. But so, point being, sometimes the artist may actually be more responsible for the storytelling than the writer is.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's interesting. That I didn't actually know that is that fact. But yeah, I was like, I was blown away. They're pretty short. The first one was short. Second one was kind of short too. Yeah, I think they're both. The first two are like pretty short. They're all not really like not necessarily long, but the what they portray in that shorter period of time is like it's amazing. And
I love, you know, like you said, I love, you know, just that for the first one, you know, you just get the sense, all right, that you know, he's very anti-bully. It literally starts with him taking on bully. This whole narrative of him hating bullies. Billy
Robert, that's for
Billy,
you.
my bad. So yeah, I love that. But also too, what I like that Tom Taylor is doing. I haven't gotten through the third one. I'm halfway through 79. But what he's doing right is what's synonymous right with just the Bat family or the Bat character, right, is Gotham as well. Gotham's a big character in those series, and Bloodhaven's very much becoming a character in this, and that's kind of through the art that you were, you know, saying. The art you see, you know, there's a lot of homelessness and social issues going on in Bloodhaven throughout the story and stuff that the issues address. And so I think that's kind of cool too, how it's making Bloodhaven very much a character, the people of Bloodhaven, and that it's kind of a dying out, place. You have business owners who've been around the block years and years. Now they're closing businesses, that are closing, things like that. So that's one thing I personally love whenever the environment is just as important. Oh my gosh, yeah, look at that.
I love the full page.
Look at that.
Well, the double page art.
And then I think the first page of this one is this one. He's like jumping down, and he's a little reminiscent of the alternate cover for this. It's him through the ages. He's Robin, his original Nightwing when Nightwing's costume was red, and then where it's at now. And all the pinks and the blues and
super vibrant.
It's so
super vibrant.
I could just look at this comic all day.
Right,
so good.
No, I'm honestly I'm with you. Like this, it was really fun. It was fun. And I really I had a good time with this one, and I hadn't always been too Nightwing's a character that I really enjoy. And I haven't read anything of his in so long, and getting back into it was really fun. And Batman, it's almost kind of funny because in 79 or and all three theoretically, but when he inherits Alfred's money, he becomes almost the richest man or whatever it is like that. But Batman's back to being a street level vigilante, and Nightwing is trying to help the city with that. And I thought that was a really interesting take.
Yep. And then
the
this
doggy.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was about to talk about. This part is so cute. He's the bullying that Ty is talking about. These guys are kicking this little puppy around, and they're beating the puppy up, and then Nightwing just swoops in and beats the crap out of all of them. And it's the one of the very first things that happens in the first issue of Taylor's run. And it just sets up perfectly for you who Nightwing is as a person. He swoops in, grabs also this. Look at the art. And he grabs this dog. His hand's bleeding because the dog bites him. And Nightwing is like, "It's okay. You've had a tough time. I get it. You have no reason to really trust me. I've been there." And he just takes the dog off to make him better. And then I just love I love the writing so much. It's he's in the house in I think the 79. It might be 79 or it might be 80, and the dog is barking like crazy because someone's at the door. And Nightwing's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take this dog to the pound." And then Barbara's pretty much like, "I know you know you're not, and I wouldn't let you anyway." So,
yeah, really. I like this. I like the way he's drawn. I like the way the art told that story to me, and even at the top of here, you can see it's kind of basic, but it was intriguing, and I really liked it. My favorite one out of the three was probably 80, just cause
80's where it really starts to get into the meat of it.
Yeah, and we find out because all right, so in 79. They're in. So he meets this homeless guy. The homeless guy asks him and Barbara for some money. Barbara tells the truth, says I don't carry cash. They move on their merry way. And then in true comic book fashion, Nightwing then he's like, wait, I'm super rich.
I have $1 billion now.
Yeah, I'm super rich now. What am I doing? And he goes back and he pays for the family to live in a hotel for a month. Gets them some pizza, and then they're on their way. But then the homeless guy and his son, right, go down an alley. Why do people go down alleys? I don't know. Why does it ever happen like this? I don't know. But and then they get a gun on them. And what happens next, guys?
And what happens next is, so to build a little more to it, Nightwing loses his wallet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which also comes to a very funny part in number 80, where Batman, Bruce, sends him a wallet chain given to him by Tim Drake. And Tim's like, "Bruce said give you this and you won't lose your wallet anymore." And Nightwing's like, "I'm never going to live this down."
Yeah.
And he follows these kids because there's a tracker in his wallet, because of course there is, to this camp of homeless kids and people, mainly kids. And they're like, they asked Nightwing, they're like, "Are you the man with no heart? Like, are you the guy who's been doing this to us?" And Nightwing's like, no. You guys can keep my wallet." And he kind of leaves
like,
from
you
there.
need it more than I do.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, nerdy in many ways? How you doing, man? And yeah, that's what I really liked is like how they told that story with the bullying, but you know, and that camp of like they went to like the tent city, like I think is what you're talking about, for the kids, and it's there he realizes like that these kids that did something bad, they took the wallet, you know, they're in such a bad situation, and that's when Nightwing kind of realizes like maybe I can be a safety net for Bloodhaven. Maybe I can be, you know, that person, and help these people that are in so much need. And it really parallels what's going on right now. You know, in Los Angeles, there's the largest tent cities that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then even like here in Las Vegas, we've got stuff like it's real. It's a real thing.
The tunnels here.
That's because LA, they ship them to Vegas. They give them a bus ticket and $100, and they ship them to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have tunnels here, a bunch of tunnels here.
I think it's Four Master, and downtown, like it's
an underground city.
Yeah, we were talking. Austin and I went out to dinner with some people after our show the other weekend. We were talking about that and how like one of the entrances was nearby one of the places we were eating at. But yeah, like art imitates life. There's a bunch of really crappy stuff going on in the world, but
yeah.
Hopefully, we have some people in the real world who are a lot like Nightwing who help try to make it a little better.
And then we meet Blockbuster in the second one. What is this?
Blockbuster, the villain. He's kind of like he's Kingpin-esque.
I was gonna say he reminded me of Kingpin. The way he's built, and like he like picks up the mayor. And
that's in number. Is that in number 79 or number 78? I think it's in 78.
79.
Okay.
No.
Because I think it's one of the first things that happens. He kills the mayor, and the mayor that he wants in place of her.
Yeah, you're right. Because
him is taking place.
You're right. Blockbuster kills the mayor in 78, and then he basically makes Melinda Zuko the mayor and says, you know, you've been promoted, yada yada. There's the whole, you know, villain thing. And then Barbara Gordon, we find that Barbara Gordon's she's like the executor of Alfred's will. And that's how she comes in the story. But then in the second one, we see Melinda. There's the part with Melinda. I'm kind of like forgetting it now, where she's like talking about like, or is at the end of. See, that's what reading three of them kind of confuses me. She's like talking about like what she's gonna do as mayor, and then she's like, "What am I gonna do about Nightwing?" And why does she have such a gripe with Nightwing?
Well, to give you actually an answer to that, the guy who killed Nightwing's parents, his name happens to be Tony Zuko.
Oh.
And that just happens to be Melinda's dad. That is the connection between the two of them.
How come I didn't remember that?
Well, it doesn't happen in this, and it will get brought up. I'm sure it will. It just hasn't yet. Right. What's up, Jack? Rent
cities. I can't. No, I think you meant tent cities. I can't believe.
Yeah.
Rent cities. Yeah.
Rent cities. Yeah. Rent is pretty high in the cities, man. I know. But yes, I didn't. So Zuko is a name that we should have known. I should have known. But
there's to kind of plug you guys or some other people on a really good comic. It's called Black Mirror. It's by Scott Snyder, the guy who wrote a really long time on Batman. This was right before he got it. It's a Batman comic where Dick Grayson is Batman. This is after Final Crisis, and Batman's been like sent back through time. Or actually, Batman's back, and he's doing the Batman Incorporated stuff, and he's off in like a foreign country, and Dick is operating as Batman in Gotham. And one of the people main villain's kind of like villain, good guy, and it is I can't remember it's the same name. I'm not sure if it's Melinda Zuko. It might have been changed for this story, but the daughter of the guy who killed him is up to some stuff. Nightwing, not Nightwing in the comic, Batman goes and investigates her, and she's a big part of that comic, and that comic is fantastic. It's another Nightwing, but he's Batman in this one comic.
Right.
That's fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
What's it called again?
Black Mirror. It's by Scott Snyder, and the artist is Jock.
That's pretty cool. Nightwing is Batman.
I like Scott Snyder because he did.
I like Scott too.
Court of Owls and Endgame and the metal stuff.
Yep.
Tom King is Rebirth. I could tell you everyone who's written on Batman for the past probably 20 years.
I said that was pretty cool. I saw you guys on the show yesterday. Obviously, you guys do a segment every week where you shout out your favorites, what you're reading, kind of let everybody know. And so I saw some of these guys like Tom Taylor and
it's so cool
Kenny
to be
Johnson
talking to these
responded
guys.
And so,
it's like it's because we're getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's so cool to be able to like have an interaction with those. Like if you told me, I don't care like what the situation was, if you told me that I was like having interactions with the people who were writing the comics, and that's why I love the internet. Like I'm able to interact with, even though I'm doing it through the Into the West comics and stuff, interacting with the guy who writes Superman and Action Comics and the guy who's writing Nightwing and the DC storyline, I'd have been like, swear to God, that's freaking cool. And like one of the times I like shouted out, I was like, hey, Action Comics and Superman is great right now, and it has been for a long time. Philip Kennedy Johnson responded, the writer of that, to my post, and he was like, hey, I really appreciate the thing. Checked out the show. Your guys' show is fantastic. I'm like, dude, the guy who writes Superman just told me my show is fantastic. It just made my whole week.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah. Because it's I mean, I know not a lot of people would understand, but these guys are these are our celebrities. You know, these are like our level. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I would rather go talk to Tom Taylor and pick his brain than most Hollywood directors, because he's not working off of like he's not writing a script adaptation of something. He's writing the original stuff, especially with like his 7 Secret story from Boom, which will get picked up because it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I do know the feeling that you're talking about is like, I've been blessed with being able to talk to like a few of the people that I look up to like a lot, and spend time with them, and it's a great feeling. It really is. It's like, and I've said the same exact words that you just said. Is if you would have told me this, 5-6 years ago, I would have I'd have been like, yeah, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. I wouldn't, like Mark Pellegrino is one of my favorite people in the world, and like now he's my friend, and to go from that to that was
that's crazy.
And like we're planning it out as of right now is where he's gonna come to Boston. He's in Philadelphia now, and hang out. It's like what?
Are you kidding me? Like
it's a great feeling. It really is. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been luckier than most in our first 8 months of being up. And I I'm just really grateful to everybody. But yeah, I mean, these comic book writers, they're so good, and so you're right when you said that instead of adapting a script to screenplay, you're coming up with the original idea, and like that's on you, right?
Like they're coming up with the next thing that's going to be adapted.
Right.
Like, this is the idea center.
This is the catalog that the films have to choose from, typically, right? And to be responsible, I couldn't imagine the feeling of like your book going to screen, right? Like out of all the comic books that have ever been made, your comic book is gonna go to screen. Like that's a good feeling. I can only assume. But all right, so in number 79, because I did want to jump through this a little bit. In number 79, you know, I really liked that the character development, you know, for Dick and what his, you know, his future is going to be with the Fortune. The secret villain did have me a little excited. Didn't know at that time who it was or who it was going to be. But maybe now let's jump into 80 and where does the story go now?
So the story moves into the Nightwing has found out because detectives came to his door and were like, hey, you were the last person we saw talk to the homeless guy who was killed. And no, not last person we saw that you booked a room at this place on his behalf.
Yes.
And now he's dead. And then Nightwing's like, are you accusing me of murder? And they're like, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not accusing you.
Basically, I can't remember if he calls Barbara or Barbara just kind of shows up and is like, let me help you out. There's some fun interactions between him and Barbara during that. And that's the thing. This balances like seriousness with funniness. Like they're sitting there and the detectives are like, what's the relationship between you two? And then Dick sits back and looks at her and goes, I was kind of wondering the same thing. And Barbara's like, that's completely irrelevant. That's not what we're here to talk about. And they're like, so this happened. They explained that the homeless man got his like heart ripped out in front of his son. I'm pretty sure if it's son. It might have been some revelation at the end of 80.
Because he tells his son to, when the guy pulls the gun on him, he tells his son, go back to the pizza shop. And then, you know, the kid's like remorseful because he knows something bad's going to happen to his dad. Then the guy shoots him. And then I guess we find out that he ripped his heart out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then they go to Tim and Dick go to the tent city to try to talk to the kid. They try to find the kid and talk to him. And Nightwing gives Tim the puppy and is like, hey, we're not going to need Robin right now. We're going to need Tim and a puppy. And Tim's like, great idea. And so he walks around the place with the puppy and he kind of befriends the kids and talks to them a little bit. And they all have very similar stories of something happening to their guardians. Exactly. And then Brutal and the Electrocutioner, I might be pronouncing that. It might just be brutal, but you know, reading. They show up at the tent city and they're like pressing it's actually kind of funny. And I think it's kind of intended to be. They're like, I don't remember what they did. They like took money, like pickpocketed someone who worked for Blockbuster. And
Maroney.
Was it Maroney?
Yeah. So
it was Maroney.
They try to pickpocket Maroney.
That's what it was.
They do pickpocket Maroney.
It was Maroney.
And then Nightwing has to come in
and
cause a conflict.
You watch Nightwing and Tim kind of beat the crap out of these two guys, and it's fun. And Brutal is actually he's a small part, but the Robin series that's 2 issues in right now, which is really cool. It's like a Mortal Kombat like tournament that's going on.
Yeah.
Brutal is actually in that.
I heard about that season. I want to pick it up.
It's really good. The second one came out on Wednesday. Just Robin 1 and 2 by Josh Williamson.
Right. But wasn't it like tournament? What's it called? Like Tournament of the Robin or something like that?
No, it's called.
Who was it by? I'm sorry.
Josh Williamson. Williamson. I can't remember what they call the tournament, but it's on Lazarus Island. And it's a very interesting. It's been very cool so far.
Yeah,
I think I've heard of that actually because someone is making comparisons to Mortal Kombat.
It's very it's a good comparison, and it's interesting because it's like a lot of characters, you know, and that you love, and maybe you don't get to see as much, and it's really cool. But so Tim Drake and Dick beat the crap out of those two, and then a fire started. And for a second, I was like, "Was it the Electrocutioner? Did he like accidentally spark up a fire?" And the comic did a great job of that. Like it like made me like forget about things when I would need to forget about them and think about them. And then when it was like it wasn't them, it wasn't Brutal and the Electrocutioner, and Brutal and the Electrocutioner, like it wasn't us. We're not here to like we can't strong arm people who are dead. Like, we're not going to kill these people. We're not going to burn down a city full of homeless people. Like, what? That's not what we're trying to do right now. We're just trying to, like, make them give us their money back. And then I can't remember if it's Tim. I think it's Dick who's like, nah, it wasn't Tim. It wasn't them. It was him. And he turns and you see the main villain of this arc, Heartless, for the first time. And he's lit the all the tents on fire. And that's kind of where number 80 leaves off.
And it's
great.
It's great.
And the villain looks so cool. Here, it's like
villain review, guys. Spoilers.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, that is sick.
Where's my camera at? Yeah, right there.
Yeah, he looks great.
That's cool.
He looks so sinister, is what it is. And so when does the next one come?
I am pretty sure it is.
Has this one been monthly?
I'm not sure if it's been bi-weekly or monthly. I'm not.
I think it's been monthly.
I think so. So it should be about another 2 weeks before the next one comes out.
Okay. All right,
so it's monthly. And I kind of appreciate that it's monthly. I would like it to be bi-weekly. Like, that would be cool to get him more often, but also it gives a little time to breathe. It
helps my wallet.
I look forward to it every month. You said what?
It helps my wallet.
Yes. Yes, it does. Because I'm telling you, next time I go into the store, I'm going to buy that variant cover, even though I shouldn't. But yeah, it's monthly. This will probably go for a while, but it's like, for me, it was like a fantastic first episode of a TV show.
Yeah, definitely one I would like to continue. It leaves you hooked in a way that now the story progresses, the art progresses. Like, you want to know what's happening, and it's intriguing, and yeah, they're short and sweet, but I think this is personally one of my favorite. Like, it's been my favorite to read in a long time. I don't know why either. I couldn't tell you exactly why.
I think it's because Dick is a fun character to read, and that whole film. But I think I find this with most of Tom Taylor's stuff. He does a fantastic job of giving you the information you need and the information you want and moving along. He doesn't like
hang on something for too long.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't over explain something, and also doesn't make things overly complicated, which there's a place for that. Like Grant Morrison, he does that. He'll like make things as complicated as possible.
Very convoluted. Yeah.
And I like reading Grant Morrison.
Hey man, I love Grant. Leave my Grant alone.
No, I do too. I mean, got the Batman.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
But yeah, Tom Taylor, he's succinct. It's great. Like the Deceased run, Deceased, Dead Planet, and Deceased, Unkillables, and Dead Planet. Those are probably, I want to say, about 20 issues in total. I sped through them. I read them so quickly.
Is it good?
It's fantastic.
All right, I'm getting that on Amazon today.
I believe that the Deceased, which is the initial run, is 6 comics. It might be 7. Unkillables, which is the middle comic, it's like what the villains and some of the smaller scale characters were doing during the initial Deceased thing going on. And that's I think I didn't get that one in issues. I got that one. I don't know where it is. It's up there. I'm not gonna get it. It gets I think it's 6 issues as well. That one's fantastic. You kind of see, one of the coolest things is you get to see Mirror Master, who can go through a mirror and come through go through a different dimension to come through a mirror, and he becomes a zombie at one point. Mm-hmm. And you get to see the kind of havoc he can wreak going through like a portal, basically a portal to a different location.
Yeah, they did Mirror Master in The Flash.
I haven't watched The Flash, so
in the CW show.
Yeah, but it turned me off to anything. Dude, that was storyline in The Flash was so. I mean, most of the storylines in The Flash nowadays are just so terrible. And now now because of CW's Flash, in my head I relate Mirror Master to Iris West, played by that woman who is so annoying.
That's not this at all.
We are the Flash. No, bitch, you're not. You're Iris West. Idiot.
The Flash is he's in the way the Flash. I don't think it's a spoiler to say a lot of main characters die in Deceased, and we get to see different versions of those characters from different people. Yeah. The way the Flash gets taken out in the Deceased arc is crazy cool. And then and so it's Deceased, Unkillables, and then Deceased Dead Planet, which just wrapped up a couple months ago, where everything seems like it's all hunky-dory and they've saved everything except that.
And then there's the one thing.
Except there's like, so the Superman may or may not be a zombie, and he may or may not be hiding out in the sun. And they like they've saved the Earth, and then at the end of the comic, the sun comes up over the street on the Earth, and it's like, yay, the sun's shining on the new saved Earth. But what really Tom Taylor's telling you is this story ain't over yet, because there's still Superman in the sun. And the way he got put in the sun was he got turned into a zombie, and the entirety of the Green Lantern Corps showed up because they were like, we need to neutralize this. And zombie Superman fled into the core.
Hold up. The entire Green Lantern Corps versus zombie Superman.
It was gonna be that, and Superman was like, I'm not gonna test my luck with this, and he went and hid in the sun. And now he's just gaining power while he's hiding in the sun. And I tweeted at Tom Taylor, you're not slick. I see what you're doing. You're setting up for the next thing. And he liked and retweeted it. So
nice.
Yeah.
But guys, we'll be right back. We're gonna finish the show in a moment and kind of do our final thoughts. But I forgot that we have a couple more messages that are paid for. So gotta do it. I gotta do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are brought to you today by Kai CBD, a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line. Made with 100% love, the brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram and mention Pop Culture Corner to receive 10% off your order of all or any of their CBD-derived product line. Guys, their website is in the works. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Mention Pop Culture Corner and get 10% off. This ad is an easy one for me. Easy, as I use the products myself. They are wonderful. So head over, mention Pop Culture Corner, and get 10% off your order of all orders forever. We are brought to you today by Showcase Cinemas Deluxe. Right now, Mortal Kombat is in theaters, and we were live from inside the theater for all-day coverage of the film on April 23rd. Make sure to get out and support your local theaters now. See these larger-than-life movies the way they were intended, on the largest screen possible. Showcase offers X+, which is their large premium format theater. Not only do you see and hear the film, but you become a part of it as well. Find out where your local Showcase Cinemas is by heading to their website, www.showcasecinemas.com. Again, that's www.showcasecinemas.com, or by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, be Showcase safe. Showcase has implemented several protocols to ensure that your focus remains on the film, not on the pandemic, including new ventilation systems in each theater to ensure proper airflow, sanitizer on every wall, and so much more. Enjoy the movie the way it was meant to be, with a night out to the theater. All right, so that is about going to do it for today's Nights of the Comic Roundtable. What do you guys think is next week?
I think if we want to stay with kind of the new DC, it's called the Infinite Frontier, which is like from the death metal, spinning out of the death metals comic. I think reading, if we want to stick with just the beginning of runs and stuff, and Robin 1 and 2 by Josh Williamson, which I mentioned.
I was gonna recommend that. Actually.
It's super fun. 2 issues. Everyone should be able to catch up on it super easily. It's Damian, and we a lot of times we get stories with Damian. He's either working with one of the other Robins, or he's working with John Kent, Superman's son, which those stories are a lot of fun.
Right.
But this is Robin out on his own, doing his own thing, and there's even a point where like his self-conscious, where Alfred's talking to him, because Alfred's also dead in the Robin comic, obviously. He's like, you know what you should do, Damian? You should call Bruce. And then Damian's like, nah, F that. I got this. And a lot of times Damian can come across as annoying, but he does not in this so far. He's just headstrong little kid.
I was just about to say I'm not a Damian fan.
Nah, he does not come across
honest.
as annoying. He comes across as a guy who believes in his abilities. And the biggest thing about it, and I think like he's there for this tournament, and if that was it, and he was just like, I'm the best fighter ever, it would be a little more annoying. And there is some of that, but I like it actually. But there's another reason, which hasn't been fully fleshed out yet, why he's on this island. And he's like, and you kind of start to see it in number 2. He's like, I'm here for this tournament, but I got into this tournament so I can investigate some things. Right, and it's like Damian actually has like a plan. Like he needs to do something and find something out. He's not just there to fight people.
Okay. Yep. Very interesting. I'm definitely down for that. So guys, as it says, head to your local comic show. Oh, comic show. Oh my God. I just typed that, as you can tell.
Dun, 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 dun,
dun. Head to your local comic shop and pick up Robin 1 and 2 by Josh Williamson to follow along and engage with the review next week. And that'll be a lot of fun. I do have some ideas about where we can take this little thing that we're doing. Paul, where can everyone find you and the gang?
Everyone can find me and the gang at Into the West Comics. We are at 187 subscribers. We would really love to get to 200.
Left.
Just need 13 to get to 200. We had a nice little jump last night after the show. We would greatly appreciate it if you went over there and gave us some love. And if you want to support us in anything, reach out to us at Into the West Comics on Instagram. If you think this shirt's kind of cool and you're like, hey, I'd rock the shirt, DM us on Instagram and we'll get you one. Might cost a little bit of cash, but we'll get you one.
So any thoughts on the Teespring thing?
I brought it up to the boys. We're gonna work on getting that set up, but as of right now, we kind of just gotta go case to case basis.
So it says you're at 189 right now.
Oh, so we got 2 more since this started.
Yep.
So if that was any of you guys, I really, really appreciate that. It's super cool. Like Jack, Billy, and there's someone else I'm forgetting. Adam. I see guys who
usually Adam in there.
I started seeing over here that I see over on my podcast now, and that's super cool. I appreciate that you guys.
That was a nice feeling.
Yeah, you guys enjoy my opinion because I know I can be kind of.
It's at 190 now.
Whoa!
Appreciate you guys.
Wow.
But yeah,
that's really weird to see that just happen and it flick over like that.
That's cool. And
that's really cool.
Follow at @into_comics on Twitter. I put out some stuff pretty much every day there. Maybe not every day, but sometimes more than other days. I try to keep my personal opinion out of that because that's supposed to be all of our guys like just, hey, this is happening, check this out. And if there's like I have a super like glowing opinion of something, I'll share it on that, but I'm not going to try to push like my negative opinions on things on the rest of the guys. I don't want people to see that and be like, oh, this is what Into the West. No, this is just what if I think something of something, I'll post it on my Twitter, like if I don't like something. But just come support and I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate Ty and Austin having me here every week. It's a lot of fun to talk to you guys.
Yeah, man, this is fun for me. It's a blast.
So if you can zoom in there, it says 190 now.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
No,
Appreciate you guys.
If that was any of you fellas in the chat, I know you guys have been silent for a few because you guys are losers. But,
much love.
Just kidding, but yeah. So thank you guys so much for that. Let's get them to 200 before Black Widow releases, so they can bring one unlucky schmuck to that.
Just sit next to me, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah. So Austin, now your turn.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Also, it's at Alien1023LV, something like that. But yeah,
LV 1023.
the fact that you know it more than yeah, and I just figured out how to change that the other day. I did that, and I was like, oh, that'll be easier. But yeah, again, guys, shout out to everybody in the chat. We love you guys in the chat. You guys, we do it.
Reminder, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
We do accept super chats now, so
nice. Yeah, congratulations on getting monetized. I saw that. I was super hyped for you guys.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, to like be in charge of because you got to put them in. Like, I didn't know it was like that. You have to like set up each video with where you want them, what you like. You can take them out, put them in, yada yada. So it's added a little bit extra work, but it's all for the greater good. I won't overload you, but I won't underload you either. Because like for instance, yesterday we made like $30 throughout the day. So if you want to like theoretically say that's a minimum, right? Minimum $30 over 365 days. That's around $10,000 for the year. And that's just in our first year. So if we can keep on that, I'd be very happy to put $10,000 back into this show and increase the production value and everything like that. But it also helps for patrons. So shout out to Caden Reed, Odd, Nick DePalma, That One Carlos, Josh Robertson, Joey B, Billy Robert, Adam Silvestri, Sean Adam. Man, this has put me out of breath. Susan SIDERI, Ruben Chaos Rivera. You guys are the lifeblood of the Pop Culture Corner. If you're interested in becoming a patron and you like access to behind the scenes stuff, early access, discounted merchandise, pictures of the pop culture mascot Logan, or AKA Justice Sniff. What does he call him? Quick Sniff. Quick Sniff. If you like that kind of stuff, it's only $5 a month, and it helps contribute towards the success of the show. Thank you so much. And we also have our shop where you can head over to teespring.com and take a look at all the merchandise that we have for you. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I do have some ideas after we wrap this, but yeah. So Paul, why don't you do it for me today? Can you say?
We do it for you. We do it for the culture.
There we go.
It was I liked it though. I liked it. I liked it. Sometimes I catch people off guard with that, and they're just like, "What? What do you want me to say?"
I was like, "Do I remember it?" And then I got a little excited. I was like, "I do remember it."
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow for the podcast.